increases the value of everything, right? It's a force multiplier, okay? Urgency. I think this is interesting. There's this fact. There's more than 600 books for sale on procrastination on Amazon. 600 books for sale on procrastination, and a new one is published every 3 days.
What the hell?
Why are there so many books on procrastination?
Because no one has time to read.
Because everyone procrastinates. Right? It's a real thing. People literally, they respond to urgency, and most of the things in their lives have no urgency. What are the things that you have in your life that you value, but there's no deadline on it? There's no urgency with it. Who here is trying to get in better shape? Like that is an active goal of yours right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. For all of you, is that a hand?
Yeah.
Okay. For all of you, do you have a deadline for when you're going to do something like a photo shoot? You're going to post a public photo of yourself with your shirt off online in your social media, forcing you to take action. Do you have a date?
I do.
You already had one.
Mm-hmm.
When is it?
It's June of 2018.
June 2018. Okay.
I'll be at 205 pounds.
Nice.
Yeah, you are.
And he's helping me make that happen.
Nice. Everyone else have a deadline or no? Yes and yes, no and no and no and no. Do you think having a deadline will help you achieve it?
Yeah.
Should you add a deadline to it?
Yeah.
Of course. All right, of course. They said Steve Jobs lived a sense of urgency that was greater than anyone else's. That's just what people around him who said that. He had this incredible sense of urgency with everything he did. And you guys ever hear the stories about how he had such high standards for his employees?
Yeah.
Like he just demanded such high. Why do you think he demanded such a high level of work from them? Because he thought he was running out of time. It's an interesting way of looking at things. If you always think you're running out of time with everything you're trying to achieve, do you think that might push you into the zone of mildly uncomfortable all the time? Quite a challenge, but man, is it fucking effective to think you're running out of time, even when you're not, playing these little brain tricks on yourself. It's powerful shit, right? It's powerful shit. So I said invitations should always have urgency. Your offers should always have urgency. Everything about you should have urgency, right? It really should. One thing I do with affiliates when I want them to promote, a lot of times is if normal commissions are 75% commissions, we'll bump it up to 90%. But it's not 90% forever. It's 90% this week only. Urgency forces them to promote. So I increase the value, but it's also urgency. It's this week only. They have to mail this week. Otherwise, they lose out on it. Make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So here's what I want to know. What do you want to know about urgency? What are you thinking about? Start here, we'll go there. So here's one that I've used in the past. And you can change up the language of it however you want, but it's this idea of, I would state earlier in the call that just so you know, like, I'm not your normal trainer. Most of my clientele, if you meet any of my clients or see any of their success stories online, they're very enthusiastic people. Like when they come to work out with me, like they're all in on the program, and that's how they achieve such great results. So I just want you to know, when I'm looking for my next clients, I'm always checking to see when they get the opportunity to work with me, do they jump on it with enthusiasm, or are they one of those people who's like, you know, I need to kind of think about it? Because it's totally okay if they want to think about it, but they're probably not the right client for me. Do you know that infuses urgency into it? And some really good framing, some social proof in there too, but there's that kind of idea. The other one, of course, is simply you have a deadline from, like, how does it normally work for you right now? Like do they usually decide on the phone? I would just say at the start of the call, I would let them know I only have a couple spots left, and I have like 5 or 6 calls scheduled for today. You could feel it instantly.
Yeah, it changes the game.
Of course, yeah. One of the best ways to, you'll see it, we combine these power influence triggers together, and that's where real power happens. And 2 that go together like fucking peanut butter and jelly is social proof and urgency. Because the social proof creates the urgency. I have 1 or 2 spots left, but I have 5 or 6 calls I have calls with 5 or 6 people after you. Social proof. But that social proof, when combined with I have 1 or 2 spots left, creates urgency. Right? And it's great. You can do it at the start of the call. Hey man, how are you? I'm good. How are you, Sam? I'm doing fucking great. This client program has been going amazing. I'm really excited to talk to you here. And it's been like we only have a couple spots left. I have like 7 great people to talk to on the phone today, looking to fill this last spot. So I'm fucking excited. So you ready to get started? Oh yeah, let's go. It's people. This is not the best time for people to make. They're not making a lot of buying decisions outside of shopping right now. Like what's today? December 20th or whatever. Like around the holidays, they're not hiring coaches. That could also be a limiting belief. Yeah. You can certainly, like we're going to run a sale in 2 days through Christmas and New Year's for Status. Like the original Status program is going to be on sale all Christmas. It's going to be badass. So I'm going to be selling that like 100%. Especially because like new year, new you. Like everyone around now is thinking about transformation and getting ready for the next year. So it can certainly be sold, but definitely right after the new year is going to be a better time for that.
Yeah, because
The other thing I'm thinking about is, because you asked about authority. If I'm talking to someone who maybe I want to hire or wants to coach me or consult or write copy for me or something, and they're readily available over the holidays, I'm like, they must not be very popular, and or they must not have a lot of work, and or they must not be very in demand. Because who has time to sell on December 23rd?
I'm Jewish, so.
You tell them that.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you that comes to mind also.
Okay.
Is this an authority question or an urgency question?
Well, I wanted to add urgency, but I wanted it to have the twisting of the knife at the end.
Here's one thing you could try,
Yeah.
okay? Because I've tried something like this before and it always works. I don't know why I don't use it more. You can say something like, just let them know, maybe when you give them the A or B offer, you can also let them know, like, by the way it works with me is with every client, every prospective client who I'm looking at, we use something called the 24-hour rule. And all it means is that whether we're going to work together or whether we're not, we're going to decide within 24 hours of the minute we get off this phone call. And the reason we do that isn't to like add any pressure on anyone or anything like that. It's only because we want to make sure the people we're working with are going to be incredibly decisive people. Because I mean, you know as well as I, if you're not decisive, we're not going to succeed anyways. So just make, and then you just keep going. But it's like when you name it the 24-hour rule, it makes it sound official, like it's something it's a process your company's been using for a long time. You know, we use something that we borrowed originally from something Henry Ford actually first created for his company, you know, hundreds of years ago. But he called it the 24-hour rule, and we found it very, very effective in our company. And here's how it works. Also, Henry Ford, yeah. So you can use shit like that for urgency.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And
Bring it. There better be more. There better be more fucking questions. I just want you to know.
What about urgency
Yeah.
and consequences?
Yes. So,
Give up.
what do you want to know about that particularly?
So hypothetically, if
I like where this is going. I can see the evil part of Zach starting to work, and I get a little chubbed. I just want you to know.
I mean, like if you
It's clean in the morning. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. If you want to know the real answer, the rule that shit's fine. It's that you tried to come up with a rule, and it wasn't we came up with the rule.
Oh, okay.
And I see your roommate right behind you nodding his head. Because it's not that he likes like pissing his roommate off,
Yeah.
right? It's just that you guys have different patterns. You grew up in different households, and there were different rules. You need to come up with something together.
Okay.
That make sense? So you're using ClickFunnels, right? Using ClickFunnels?
Yep.
So the way you can set it up in ClickFunnels is there can be a countdown timer per visitor, per cookied visitor.
Mhm.
So if I go to your page this morning, there might be 11 hours left when I go back to it tonight. But someone else who sees it tonight for the first time,
Their time will start then.
so you can make it unique to each person.
Mhm.
You can totally do that. And in fact, you can even set it up where you can make it real urgency, where if they come back after the 24 hours has left up, you can resend them to a different URL. It'll actually redirect them. And that one could be, audiobook's no longer free, but it's just $4.95, and we've taken care of the hosting fee for you. That's fucking meta right there. We can do that. Actually, I really like that. I like 24 hours. Again, test it, but I would start with 24 hours. Simply because if it's more than that, the first time if it's like 72 and I land on the page and it's 72 hours, there's no urgency. 72 hours to me, like to the average person, seems like a long time. 24 hour, you can even try 12. You can try 12, you can try 8. I know some people who will try 45 minutes. In fact, that might be worth testing as well. Yeah.
I remember you did.
We did a lot of offers, 30 minutes, yeah. And that wasn't real.
I know.
Yeah, we didn't say it was real on the page. Like if you go back, it's not like if you leave this page and come back, this won't be here. It was just like on this visit, you have 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do those offers anymore though because we found better ways. Have you noticed I haven't promoted any of those in like 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, what are the better ways?
we're gonna stick on urgency right now.
Okay.
I will say this: webinars. Webinars are better in the back end. Webinars are better. Yeah. All right. What else about urgency? Business, girls, texting, online dating. There's a variety of ways that you can do it. You can. Actually, I even wrote about it in the email today, where it's called the technical term is the qualifying busy invite technique.
Yeah.
Qualifying. Did you see that?
Yeah. It's good.
How did that use urgency? Or does it use scarcity?
Scarcity.
It uses more scarcity, right? It uses more scarcity. The other thing, just like we could come up with some good ways, but I'll tell you this: I don't think they work that well on girls. What I've seen work well, and is what I've seen over like all the fucking, not to sound geeky, but like data points that I've seen just for myself and all the clients, because I get to look at a lot of my clients' texts and shit. I've looked at this stuff for a lot of years, is that if you're trying to get her out on Friday, it doesn't matter what you say on Tuesday, she's just not going to decide on Tuesday. Because she's got all week to see what else are her options. Girls use the week to just load up on options. Anyone ever gone to dinner with a girl and she looks at the menu and she just wants to try everything? Her dream is literally, I don't want any of this stuff, I just want a teeny bit of everything, and that would be my perfect meal. Girls just want to load up on all their options. It's the same reason why, again, if you put an empty shelf in an apartment and a guy lives there, he's like, it's perfect. But she sees it, she's like, she wants to fill it up with trinkets and tchotchkes and shit. And Russian dolls and ornaments and pictures and things that say like, love is forever. So girls all week long, she's just trying to fill up her options on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then maybe Thursday night's like the going out night, which it is in Scottsdale, right? Then it's like that, the urgency for her won't kick in until like Thursday at 1. Does that make sense? So if you have fucked her, this is different. If you haven't slept with her, the urgency kicks in like fucking Thursday at 1-ish. So the best thing you can do is to show up on her radar around that time. One weird part of human psychology is that whatever we're feeling in an instance, for some reason, we're cause and effect machines. We're always like, so if an effect that we have is we feel urgent right now, or a sense of urgency to do something right now, we're always looking, well, what caused this? What caused this? And if you show up on her radar around that time, she will literally associate, he texted me, I really want to see him. Like when he invited me out, I was feeling like a sense of, she won't call it a sense of urgency, she'll be like I wanted to see him. And she'll like associate the two together. So you can just, if you step in when she's already feeling that way or starting to feel that way, it's going to just become an association in her brain, which is retarded, but it's actually how our brain works, right? Like a baby could be like walking on a table when it's 2 years old or 3 years old or 4 years old, crawling, and then it falls off the table and it hits the carpet, and it goes, ow, that hurt. And it looks at the carpet, let's say the carpet's green. That baby, without realizing it, will then associate green carpet equals pain. And that baby could be 30 years old one day and avoid green carpet and not know why. Because that's what it is. Because it looks for something what's recent and unique. That's what it's looking for when it's what caused this. What just happened and what's unique about here. Well, all this stuff is normal and that's fine, but this carpet's green and my knee hurts. Green carpet hurts my knees. So that's like how you got to play it. Other ways to inject it, like of course saying you're busy on certain days, and this one, understanding when she's feeling urgent. Like that's huge. Understanding when. Like inviting a girl out on Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday, unless it's like for that night, to go out that night. If you're trying to make plans for the weekend, and you try and go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Thursday, like dude, there's no sense of urgency. Not only will she not decide, but she'll actually attribute lower value to you because she doesn't feel any sense of urgency when she gets your text. Like my game is always, I'm just like invisible Monday through Wednesday. Like no one can get to me Monday through Wednesday. There's nothing good there. There's no like a lot of this stuff just doesn't exist, especially with girls. Okay, does that help? Okay. I'm trying to think of like other key things that come to mind about creating urgency, but in my opinion, it's also much better used in person with girls. Like I'm saying I'm leaving tomorrow over text works good. Saying it in person, it hits harder. It works better. Yeah, Zeller.
Be there.
When did you meet with her for the drink?
At night.
What night?
Wednesday.
So it was the day of.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you're trying to make plans for the weekend, trying to make plans for Saturday on a Wednesday, there's no urgency. Okay. Yeah, the other part with girls, a lot of times, and this is why it's always worth just throwing it out there, is those spontaneous kind of meetups, they can work really, really well. Like a lot of girls, like 6 p.m., and you just take them out, you're like, I'm starving, I feel like sushi, want to join? When? Right now. That kind of there's also built-in urgency to that too, isn't there? Like, yeah, I'm going right now. So she's got to decide right there. And a lot of girls like the spontaneous act of that. Like, it's a really successful technique to just do that a lot with different girls. Like, I'm feeling like getting ice cream, let's go. When? Right now. Let's go. So there's built-in urgency to that. There's spontaneity. You're leading. There's a lot of good that comes from that as well. In fact, I would almost recommend you do that instead of like setting up like some big official plan with a girl, like planning ahead on a Friday night and we're gonna get dinner and do this whole thing. The spontaneous one is like probably more effective, truthfully. In fact, everyone here, who's gonna use that? Who's gonna test it? All right, will you guys report back to me exactly how it goes for you specifically?
Yeah.
Okay. So sending the same thing but doing it on Snapchat instead of text?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. DM works just as well. Like sending stories, personal stories to girls, works. It's the same thing as Snapchat. Yeah.